Hey there, I am Dawn Westmoreland, and I'm going to talk about resiliency because that's where I've been going with my work, my books, my consulting, my coaching, even with my radio show here in Asheville, North Carolina. In the past, I've talked a lot about HR compliance, workplace issues and such, and they are important, but I think also overall resiliency is really important. So I want to share a story. Sometimes I share this in certain groups. When I was in the Air Force, and this would be about 35 years ago, when I was a young person, I was married to an alcoholic. It was actually my first spouse. And if you know anything about alcoholism, is sometimes the people who have to deal with the alcoholic can be a worse situation than the alcoholic. In that case, I was in really dire shape. We were about to move and go to South Dakota and the Black Hills, the Black Hills of South Dakota. And we were living in a little cabin right on Mexico Beach. I would walk every day, and I was very much in the victim mode. I would walk up and down the beach, which I found a very spiritual experience. And I'd pray, oh my God, dear God, please, please save me. Please rescue me. Please save me. Just pulling out the victim card in every which way because I didn't know any better. And oftentimes we don't know. We do the best that we could. And I remember every day I walked by this beautiful, beautiful multi-million dollar mansion. And I admired it because the landscaping was incredible. This building was breathtaking. And I always thought, wow, how neat to have that house. Well, things got worse, and with my spouse, and the drinking was out of control. It was dangerous, and I knew I had to do something. I was definitely, in deep, deep trouble, water over my head kind of trouble. And so I contacted an AA meeting facilitator and called 800 number, found out, and they're like, hey, guess what? They're having a meeting tonight right nearby, 10 minutes away, Mexico Beach. It's an open AA meeting. If you don't know what that means, it just means anybody can come. It's not just for the person who's dealing with alcoholism. So I show up at this meeting. Okay, I'm a little timid. I'm just feeling really run down. As I walk in, I see four men and they're laughing, they're giggling, they're acting silly, they're acting crazy. And I think, oh, surely this is the wrong meeting. And then they, welcome me. And they're like, no, you're in the right meeting. Okay. So I sit down and oh my gosh, these guys were just high on life and it was more than I could take. So what did I do? I grabbed my purse and I got the hell out of there as fast as I could. I ran. I didn't even say goodbye. I ran out the door. But where I ended up was where I needed to be. I ended up in the broom closet, which was by the front door. So I'm sitting in, I say sitting, I was standing, sitting both for a few minutes in this broom closet. There was a place to sit down. And I'm smelling all the cleaning fluids. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't even get this right. I want to get out of here. And so I heard in my head, you belong in that meeting. And I'm like, what? How could I belong in that meeting? I want out of here. How can I get out of here fast without these guys seeing me? Well, I kept hearing it. You belong in that meeting. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to go to that meeting. I don't want to go back in that room. Oh, they're going to laugh. Oh my God, I'm going to be the butt of all jokes. But when I went back into that room, that meeting with those four older men, they pretended they didn't see what had happened, but they sure as heck had seen what had happened. They were just very mature about it. And then when the meeting was over, one of the scrappiest, oldest men said to me, I'd like you to meet my wife. If you feel comfortable, drive behind me. And I want you to come to my house and meet my wife at any time, Dawn. You can leave, right? And I thought, I don't know what it is about this guy, He's got holy clothes on, holy shoes. I walk outside and there's holes in his vehicle even. It's an old vehicle. And I'm thinking, oh boy, okay, he's going to take me to some trailer park. I was judging. And don't we all have biases, right? So I go and follow him. And probably about 10 minutes later, where am I at? Oh my gosh, I am at this beautiful multi-million-dollar home that I walk by every day for months, crying my heart out. Please save me. I'm praying to God, please save me. Well, that's how I was saved. So as I got out of the car, I was immensely embarrassed for judging him. I was ashamed, because I judged him. I judged him without getting to see him for who he was, for seeing his soul. But what I found out was he was a retired Army helicopter and his wife was a well-to-do author. What I learned from that experience is that I had choices. I had all kind of opportunities: stay in this abusive relationship or leave this abusive relationship. And without even realizing, my prayers were answered, my intentions were answered too, that I wanted help. I was desperate. I mean, it was getting deadlier and deadlier every day. After meeting that man or woman, I shortly left and went to South Dakota, and I ended up finally leaving the alcoholic. But, always, if I can leave you with this, be open to the final outcome, but you never know what that middle part will look like. You never know how your intentions, your prayers are going to be met. Best thing that ever happened was walking by that building, that house every single day and putting up prayers, putting up intentions to get help. That is the best thing that ever happened. And it came to me in a way I never, ever expected. And the best thing that ever happened was really running into that broom closet, because had I made it out the door, there's no way in hell I would have came back. So that's my story. And thank you for listening, and always stay empowered, because that's what we're meant to do. We're meant to be empowered. We're not meant to have burdens in this life. Everything really is about growth and opportunities. Take care and stay empowered.